as you know, in South Africa, the month of June is dedicated to our youth, and we also want to celebrate the excellence that our UCT alumni are doing in their respective fields. Today, in house, we actually have Moroenyane, a UCT alumnus actually who did his undergrad at UCT and also currently pursuing his postgraduate also here at UCT. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Lou. Thank you so much for having me. It's really a great opportunity for me. I wasn't expecting such an invitation, more especially from UCT Alumni department. So I'm really grateful and I'm really happy to be here.
And also, just to start off, literally, start small, basically. Can you tell us basically more about yourself before your life at UCT and where you are now? Where you from? Where you grew up?
I'm from the Free State. I'm from the Free State in a township called Kroonstad. So I grew there. I went to my primary there, my high school. Basically, my entire life, I grew up in Kroonstad. I attended my high school there in Dr. Reginald Dingo, where I did my matric, and then I came here at UCT, at the University of Cape Town, where I did my Bachelor's of Social Sciences, majoring in Politics and Governance, Sociology, and Social Development. So, yeah.
Speaking of that, actually, why UCT? I mean, if you're coming from Free State, there's many other great universities, institutions around the country, but you specifically chose UCT. But why UCT?
Well, at first, there's this thing of like when you get to UCT, there's this thing of like number one university in Africa, number one university, like there's that thing, that mentality even. But then I did not know about it. I literally just applied to multiple universities and I got accepted at the University of Free State, University of Johannesburg, Nelson Mandela University, and UCT accepted me. Most of my friends went to like University of Free State. So my dad is the one who advised me, you can't follow your friends. You know how peer pressure is. I wanted to go to the University of Free State because most of my friends were going there. But then he advised me. He was like, no, my boy, try and go Cape Town. And I was like, no, I want to go to yours. He was like, no, you have to go. So try and go Cape Town and see what it has for you. And I took his advice because like there is this guy who was mentoring us in high school he's also a UCT alumni. He holds a degree in mechanical engineer. So he was tutoring us, mentoring us in high school. So his name is Tabang Sibetwani. So he's the one who actually showed me like more reasons why I should actually come to Cape Town. And yeah.
Again, as you know, that we're celebrating Youth Month. So you did your undergrad basically in politics, sociology, and governance, and also social development at UCT. How did that basically, in your own words, basically, how did that shape your thinking, like in terms of as a youth of South Africa?
Well, I must say it opened my mind. It opened my mind. It helped me develop I don't know if I should say perspectives, but it helped me a lot in terms of like the manner in which I think. Because growing up in locations like in townships, more especially township like Kroonstad, there are a lot of like things that you learn as you grow up that at some point you have to unlearn. So I think my degree has contributed. It has contributed a lot in terms of like helping me see things differently, learn, unlearn, and relearn. So yeah.
Okay. And also your experience as a student, basically. Now, for an example, let's say whoever that is listening here is a current UCT student or a prospective grade 11 or grade 12 student. How was your time basically as a student, especially undergrad at UCT?
It has been amazing. It has been amazing, and if I had to like maybe share an advice to someone who is currently doing their undergrad, or someone who is looking towards doing their undergrad at UCT, I would say they shouldn't hesitate going for that, because it's actually an amazing space to be with a lot of different people from different backgrounds. It you get to learn a lot, not just academically, but in different fields. So it's been an amazing experience for me. It's been an amazing, and there are a lot of resources that you can actually use in this space. So yeah, it's one of the best universities you can ever find yourself in. And given that opportunity, just make sure that you make good use of it.
And then again, still continuing with your education, is that you did your undergrad here, and then
Yeah.
now you decided actually to pursue your postgraduate, basically where you're doing your postgraduate diploma in management and marketing.
Yes.
How basically then would you, what message then would you like to give to the youth, especially since we're in Youth Month, on why actually it's important for them actually to further their education if they can?
Well, I think it's important to further your education, because somewhere somehow the world is changing. Like, the world is evolving every now and then. So I think it's very important to further your education, because even in the workplace, if you don't further your education, it's not easy to go up the ranks, because yeah, education plays quite a huge role in terms of helping you get wherever you want. So also, if you wanna like move from lower class, more especially for us black people who are from like townships, the rural areas that still needs to be developed, I think furthering your education is very important, because it's one of the key factors that are actually playing a role in terms of moving from lower class into middle class, and also like from middle class into upper class. So yeah, it's very important as a youth of South Africa to further your education.
And then now, with that current experience that you currently have as a student, and basically where you are, what is that one lesson actually you wish in your first year you knew, something that can help pave the way basically for those who are coming behind you now?
Okay. Uh well, I don't know if this is gonna actually like answer the question appropriately, but then most of the time I really wish I took I took since like we did not really have good careers expos and all that in our like schools in townships. Sometimes I wish I could have taken a gap year, so that I can actually reflect on what I want, what actually aligns with me and all that. So my advice would be, they should actually like most of people, our peers, those who are like still younger, looking like to further their education and all that, they should try and get to know what they want. I think it's important to know what you want. Take time, so that like you are sure this is what you want, and go for it, because that way the experience becomes easier, it becomes enjoyable. The difficulties that comes with it, it becomes easy, to deal with them. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's actually a proper answer, but
That's the thing, it's all about the experience.
yeah.
And then now we transition now towards where you currently are career wise. You basically were in the social sciences space,
Yeah.
and then basically you took a route that is not normally is not seen as normal actually for youth.
Yeah.
Your path towards agriculture basically. What led you to that?
Well, after my undergrad, I happened to get involved with I worked for this company that is called OVK. Now, in fact, it was during the end of my degree. So I got involved there and I got to actually see agriculture in a different perspective. Growing up, I only saw it as like having like just planting crops, growing them, like having livestock and all that. But then this opportunity that I had at OVK, it opened me to it basically like I got to see that space in a different perspective. So it kinda changed how I saw the sector as a whole. And then now having to like go and work for INMED South Africa, that's when like my love for agriculture like developed.
Oh.
And yeah.
And also, have you met or basically what kind of barriers that are currently there preventing especially young people actually from entering the agricultural sector that exist? And if are there any maybe ballpark solutions that you can also maybe think could actually help or assist?
A lot of challenges that we happen to face for like youth who are trying to get into the sector. It's the issue of having the land where you can actually like do what you wanna, like whatever you wanna farm, be it livestock or crop farming. So it's one of the biggest issue, more especially in the Free State. So yeah, and I think it affects us a lot. But a solution to that is I once attended one of the seminars that were held in our town hall by the MEC of Agriculture, and the solution that they actually proposed were there are old buildings of government that are not occupied. Nothing is being done there. So try and thinking of an idea that is agricultural related. Try and think of an idea and then making use of that building is one of the solutions that were proposed. Because there was also like a mentioning of this other I think it's a Chinese guy. What he did, there was a building, yeah, a building is like for flats. So he bought the building. After he bought the building, he made use of it to farm pigs.
Interesting.
And that was like, it's a brilliant idea. It's part of like innovation, just like thinking out of the box
And reusing it.
Yeah.
And then you talked about basically your experience with INMED, basically where you got that hands-on experience in agriculture.
Yeah.
Basically, why do you think is it something that's actually missing, especially with our youth, that hands-on experience basically to explore new career paths, maybe people they've never thought of? Because I think most of the stuff is taught. Basically, it's all basically you read.
Exactly.
Nothing is practical.
Yeah.
But for you, with that practical experience, how did that actually help basically open your mind to where you are today?
Well, I think if I wasn't, I think if I was choosy, I wouldn't have came across this opportunity of working at the INMED, because it's even like the payment wasn't that of like someone who works in the office and all that. So I think had I not, or if I was choosy, I wouldn't have came across that chance to get to realize and see the fact that I actually am in love with agriculture. It's something that aligns with me. So don't be choosy. Like, take whatever that comes your way.
Yeah.
And then like eventually you will get to find what's meant to be yours.
Yeah. And then also in the agricultural sector, basically, are there any other maybe opportunities that you think actually the youth actually should exploit and actually take a look at, instead of actually looking at agriculture as just, a tractor and a farm and planting?
technology it's playing quite a huge role in like currently in our lives. The fact that we are already in the fourth industrial revolution, I think integration of agriculture with technology, if young people could look at that, it's gonna be a win for most of us. I so wish like they could try and like maybe conduct like the research. And I never knew about aquaponics. I came across the system when I was at the inmate, and I learned a lot about it. So I think, yeah, engaging more in research and actually like checking out the field,
Yeah.
maybe there's something for you, because it has different compartments, right? There's crop farming, there's livestock farming, and livestock farming on its own, it has like you can farm cattle, you can farm sheep and all that. Also there's agro processing. Most of youth they seem to be like more, I think it's an interesting part of agriculture for the youth, agro processing.
Oh. You actually talk about like new technology, that's coming up. Where, for example, I myself, I had to actually go and research basically what is aquaponics. Can you just give a brief, basically, example of what aquaponics is for someone who doesn't know, and maybe it's something actually, and also how actually does it also
Work.
help the planet, basically?
Oh, okay. It's a system, basically. It's a system that is sustainable, that involves crops and fishes. Basically, you are farming using fish to grow your crops. So it's you have two greenhouses, right? The other one, well, this is the structure that was like you can actually develop it however you can, but this is the structure that I think is gonna be easy for most people to understand. So at Inmate, what we had, it was a two ground greenhouses covered with plastic, because plastic, remember, it helps trap the heat.
Yeah.
So the other greenhouse, it had the fish tanks in it, and then the other one, it had crops. So in between the two systems, there are pipes. These pipes, they help circulate the water from the tanks, fish tanks, onto the growing beds for the crops. So the water the water entails fish feces. So fish feces, it contains nutrients like nitrogen, of which is very essential for the crop to be like green. It's like essential for the crop roots and everything, like for crops to be healthy. Like all the nutrients, those feces, they help with that. And what's interesting about it is you don't have to the reason why we say it's sustainable is because you don't have to go and like make waste of like your soil, because soil does get like tired
After a while, yeah.
Yeah, more especially if you don't like practice sustainable practices, like if you don't implement sustainable practices like rotating your crops. So yeah, what makes aquaponics system sustainable is because you don't have to use soil. Basically, the grow beds, they are made out of cement, right? And then inside there's a gravel. So inside that gravel is where like the waters, it passes
through, yeah.
Yeah, continuously from there. So meaning you don't really have to like waste even like water and all that. So you just have to like you put in your seed in between like the gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
So it's a closed system, yeah.
Yeah, and as time goes on, you see it growing. So you can like basically plant anything any season.
That is interesting. And then now that actually leads up basically to where you're at today. So can you also just again give us a brief explanation basically about the company actually that you started actually, that you're working on in Ticefeed?
Well, it's one of it's one company that I started during my time at InMed, because nice thing about the management of InMed, they encouraged us to develop our own and not like really get stuck under like the company, like working for the, like we should actually think of things that we can also like farm and like sell so that we can make profits for ourselves. So yeah, that's when like I've started my company, Entersfeed. So yeah, it's basically specializes in livestock and crop farming. But as time goes on, there is gonna be like an implementation of something. I'm actually working on like I want like I said, technology is it's becoming amazing every day. We are in the fourth industrial revolution, so I'm thinking of like implementing a software as a service. Normally, it's known as a SaaS. So yeah, it's one of the systems that I think are gonna make Entersfeed stand out.
Okay. And then now, as I can, from what I can actually get from the conversation,
Yeah,
is that to you basically sustainability is, you know, it's core basically.
yeah.
And what kind of advice then would you give to, for example, young budding entrepreneurs? I mean, since we're in Youth Month, where, for example, when especially when they're thinking about, you know, starting up businesses, where they can think of sustainable businesses that not only help them, but it also help their communities. And also, I mean, at South Africa at large, you know, we have a problem of high youth unemployment, basically where they can be able then to explore, but obviously look at what you call sustainable ways of creating jobs. So basically, on your side,
Yeah.
what do you think? Basically, like what kind of advice then would you give to these young youth entrepreneurs?
Um, I think research plays a huge role. It plays a huge role. To start something, you have to like firstly engage in research and get to understand what actually is it that you want to start or implement. So I think that is where you can get to see the most sustainable ways of practicing whatever you want to practice. So yeah,
So basically, your journey has been a very interesting one,
yeah,
where you've talked about basically, you know, doing from admin work that you were doing, you know, from doing, again, from working in a car wash.
yeah,
You know, it's all that humble experience, you know, starting from the ground up. It's something that's actually, you know, like especially the older generation, you know, where they always say, yeah, the young people of today, they all want everything easy. What is your advice basically to the youth, especially those who are very young, about actually, you know, starting from the ground up in order, you know, the pun not intended though, starting from the ground up, you know, from the grassroots. But what can you share basically how about that experience of starting from the ground up all the way to where you are today?
um honestly, it's a matter of having a vision. It's a matter of having a vision, a bigger picture, and keeping your eyes on it. Because the more you keep your eyes on it, the more you gonna understand that you have to do anything possible to get to that vision or achieve that particular goal that you wanna achieve. So working at the car wash, it was one of, I think I'd say one of the best experiences that taught me the fact that if you keep on choosing, you're gonna be stagnant almost forever. So you just have to do anything that's possible.
You know, so as we mark basically the youth month, the one we're currently in now, which is June
Yeah.
of every year, what basically, what kind of, again, because again, here it's about you giving out advice, your experience. What are your dreams, basically, where in terms of basically the youth being involved in agriculture? Like, what would you like to see in the future?
I would like to actually see quite a lot of youth participating in the space, because it is one space whereby it's easy to convert your your like assets into cash. I don't know if like that makes sense. It's one space that has a high demand, and suppliers never get to meet the demand. So it will be interesting to actually see quite a lot of youth participating, taking up that space.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's actually quite good. So now, for the for everyone actually who's listening, or the youth basically, how, for example, now let's say I also want to start farming. How do I get hold of you, and also where can I find more about basically your company? Even maybe there might be possible maybe suppliers who might also be looking, sorry, possible, what do you call it, clients, basically might be looking into your business. Where can they find you?
Well, I have email address where I am accessible. Mojaki shared at gmail.com, all in small letters. Also my LinkedIn profile is Mojaki Moroenyane. Also on Facebook I'm available. It's Abuti Mojaki shared. Shared is written as SHAD. So yeah, I'm quite accessible, and thanks God that my Facebook is not like it's good for business, I must
Mm.
say.
Okay.
So yeah, and as time goes on, there will be domains and all that. Cause when I came to do my postgrad, I had to put I had to actually like stop a bit with what I was doing, because I since like we are still small,
Mm.
I I understand the fact that in order like for things to go accordingly, I always have to be there and like be hands on. So yeah, for now I'm easily you can easily find me on those contacts that I just shared.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say actually thank you very much actually for accepting this invitation. Again, as we enter the UC, basically the Youth Month,
Yeah.
and you actually one of the people that actually we can say as the university we are proud to produce
Yeah.
as the youth, and basically you are someone who actually ventured into a career path actually that not many people actually look into, and which is actually what we believe the university wants to inspire, is to inspire the youth that thinks out of the box, the youth that actually can solve the world's problems. And
Yeah.
basically I believe myself you're one of those people actually that was actually going to go far. And basically to everyone who's watching this, actually, Mojaki Moroenyane, remember the name. Maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, he's going to be doing wonders. Thank you very much, actually, for that insightful words. But anyway, any last words? Actually, something actually that you'd like to share from your side?
I would firstly like to thank people who contributed a lot towards my growth. I would like to thank Tabang Sibitwani as like someone who actually like has mentored me from high school growing up, and like he's one of the people who inspires me almost daily. I would like to also thank Ellen Musiditolo, the supervisor, my former supervisor at Inmed, because he believed in me so much. He believed in me so much, and like always ignited that spark in me. And yeah, Osman Dombi, the manager, and I mean the supervisor at provincial level, the supervisor of Inmed. She's one of the people who actually believed in me so much. And also not forgetting my former principal in high school, is one of the people that actually played a huge role in terms of motivating us as his learners and making sure that we get to be where we want. And yeah, my dad for believing in me. Yeah, and keeping me under his prayers, because he never stops. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Basically, you've just encompassed literally the saying, it takes a village basically to raise a child.
Yeah.
And basically, you have all these people, the people basically who have been up there making sure that actually, you are where you're at today. So yeah, once again, actually, today we were speaking with Mojaki, Moroenyane, UCT alumnus, actually, who decided actually, while most of the youth is going this way, he's going to go this way, where he chose a field of agriculture and basically also introduced us to technologies actually in agriculture that we didn't even know about. So if you'd like to actually to continue this conversation, you can find us actually on social media platforms at UCT Alumni, where we'll be sharing these stories with our alumni community and the student cohort of UCT. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next one.